Hey everybody, this is Tracy here with another edition of A View from Tracy's Point, and we are here with a quick update on the R. Kelly case. There was a status hearing that took place today, and basically what they have determined is that the New York case is expected to take about 6 weeks, and therefore it will be impossible for the Northern District of Illinois case to begin on September 13th, I believe they had rescheduled it for. So the Northern District of Illinois case will not start in September, and the judge has ordered, the defense and the prosecution to get together and come up with a new date. And so we are looking at probably a 2022 court date for the Northern District of Illinois. But the way things are playing out, I'm thinking that if the Eastern District of New York case doesn't go so well, that it is going to negatively impact the Chicago case and the federal Illinois case in some kind of way, and maybe we'll start seeing charges being dropped. And so there was one point, during the hearing where the judge, made a comment where he says that R. Kelly is still being held at the Chicago MCC and that he's presumably not happy there, and people on the call started laughing, and I'm sitting there like, okay, what was funny about this? This is not a laughing matter, and this man's life is at stake, and you people are playing games. And then Greenberg, instead of chastising them and telling them like, this is not a laughing matter, my client's life is in the balance because you guys won't give him a bond, he just said, I think that's a fair comment. Like, come on, Steve, you don't give people any reason to believe in your competence at all. And so aside from, them denying him bond, saying that they can't hold these court cases during the pandemic, Greenberg is basically saying that he has an overwhelming amount of discovery, and at least he is finally acknowledging that he has discovery, because he has people thinking that he's not getting the discovery. And I've told you guys over and over before that Greenberg has discovery. The only thing that he really doesn't have at this point is the witness list that the government is planning to use, people that they're going to call in, like law enforcement specialists and that type of thing, and their interviews. And we already know that they're not going to give them that information until about 2 weeks before the trial start. And the same with they haven't gotten the actual victims list or alleged victims in the case, the Jane Does, but they've already figured out who these women are, and there may still be some concern about Jane Doe number 2 and Jane Doe number 3 in the Eastern District of New York case. But other than that, Greenberg has the information, and he states that in the hearing today, he pretty much acknowledged that. He said that the trial will likely last 6 weeks, referring to the Eastern District of New York case, meaning it will overlap with Kelly's tentative trial date in federal court in Chicago, set for September. Greenberg told U.S. District Judge Harry Lineweber that scheduling the Chicago trial for October or November is unrealistic, and he went ahead and said it's an entirely different set of discovery. It is immense, and I just don't see how we could do it. Right now, we're having a hard time getting ready for the New York trial. And then Lineweber told lawyers in the Chicago case to discuss a new trial date, and he set another status hearing for July 15th. So can you guys please tell us what Greenberg has been doing, that he is struggling, with going through this information. And at this point, I'm starting to think that he's the reason that they can't go to trial. And if you guys remember in my update to the Tim Norman case out of Missouri, they actually have set aside 90 days. It was either 60 days or 90 days for the defense to go through the discovery and decide what items, they want to object to, what parts of the indictment are they going to argue and try to get thrown out. And then they set another set of time in which the prosecution can come back and counter what, they're arguing against, the different charges that they want thrown out, and come up with a rebuttal as to why it should not be thrown out. And I don't understand why Steve Greenberg has not done this. Why has this not happened with the trial? And I have said this to you guys time and time before about my kid's father and how he was facing like 34 charges when he was arrested. By the time he went to trial, they had already had multiple charges thrown out. And then by the time the case went to jury, they had more charges thrown out. And so by the time he was sentenced and found guilty, he was only facing like 11 of those 34 charges that he was initially facing. And so I'm still confused as to why Steve Greenberg has not started putting in motions to have some of these charges thrown out against R. Kelly. But I'm going to assume that he has his strategy and he knows what he's doing. Since people are saying, stop putting the defense team down because that's who R. Kelly has chosen. And so we've got to get behind them and support them. But I'm going to call foul when I call foul, and then give my disclaimer that if Greenberg is able to pull out a win, I will be the first person to give him his kudos and apologize for questioning him. So very brief hearing, not much going on, basically saying what we already suspected was that this trial was going to be pushed back. Now, I did have one question for John Seidel, who is a reporter, I believe, for the Chicago Sun-Times. And that is basically, why aren't these journalists looking into this case, spending more time on this case, and why are they not exploring why is it so important for the Eastern District of New York case to go first? Why is everything contingent on the Eastern District of New York? Why hasn't the state case moved forward? They're claiming that they're waiting on evidence and discovery from the Eastern District of New York. How can that be when you were the first people to file charges in the case? You filed your charges 6 months before the federal cases even came out. So how are you waiting on the evidence and information from them in order to prosecute your case? That makes absolutely no sense. And then the Northern District of Illinois filed their charges before the Eastern District of New York. So why are you jumping behind the Eastern District of New York instead of jumping in front of it? And so it just, shows that the setup is real. The fact that even journalists are not asking questions and saying, hey, what's going on? Why are you getting in line behind the Eastern District of New York instead of being the start of all of this and putting your case on and letting the chips fall where they may? In other related news, you guys probably have already heard that he has gotten both of the COVID vaccine shots. Not sure if that has been confirmed by his legal team, but that is what's being reported. And I thought it was interesting that that story came out because remember I told you guys about the people that were filing the lawsuit about how COVID was handled at the MCC. And they said that the vaccine wasn't available. But according to news stories, R. Kelly got the first shot in January. So evidently, he has gotten both shots. Then the second thing is Surviving R. Kelly, The Reckoning, which I think was part 2, will be coming off of Netflix on April 12th. Not sure if they just had a term limit on how long it would air or if interest in it has died down and therefore there's no need to keep it on there. But it will be coming off on April 12th. And then the third thing, appears that a new legal team has stepped in on the civil lawsuits against R. Kelly, and they are in the process of filing motions. I'm not sure what those motions are, but I can only assume that they are to overturn the judgments that were entered against him, as well as appealing the ruling that was sent to Sony, telling Sony that they must begin sending his royalties to the Midwest commercial properties people. And then once that judgment of $4 million is over with, then money would start going to Heather Williams. So I haven't seen any other documents. I just know on the the basic outline and updates on the case is that a new legal team has taken over the case and that they are contesting something. And the only thing I can figure that they could be contesting was the ruling by the judge. And so those cases remain open. And then it appears that Sony may also be, having some type of legal maneuvers in place as far as his royalties are concerned. But I haven't decided if I want to invest the money into pulling those records and having those records sent to me so that I can actually read out. I'm basically going to a website that is just giving, the court hearings, the filings, the motions, but not the actual documents that I can download as I do with the Pacer account. Well, guys, you let me know what you think about that. Leave your comments below, rate the video, and subscribe to the channel if you haven't done so already. And until the next time, I shall talk to you guys later. Bye-bye.